Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man. Is he strong? Listen, bud, he's got radioactive blood. Can he swing from a thread? Take a look overhead. Hey there goes the Spider-Man. In the chill of night, at the scene of a crime, like a streak of light, he arrives just in time. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Wealth and fame, he's ignored. Action is his reward to him. Life is a great big bang up. Wherever there's a hang up, you'll find the Spider-Man.
The popular Marvel Comics character Spider-Man was created by writer Stan Lee, who is Jewish, and artist Steve Ditko, who was a devout objectivist from early in his work on the character. Marvel Comics editor-in-chief Joe Quesada has stated in his Joe Fridays column that Peter Parker is most likely of Christian Protestant beliefs. Religious affiliation has usually been a relatively taboo subject in mainstream superhero comics. Characters in the comic books from major publishers, such as Marvel and DC, have traditionally exhibited an unrealistic lack of religious affiliation and religious identity. Nevertheless, it has always been apparent that Peter Parker Spider-Man is from a Protestant Christian background. Parker's precise denominational affiliation has never been made clear. Peter Parker has never been depicted as a regular churchgoer, and could probably not be said to be religiously observant on a daily basis in any organized way. Nevertheless, Parker has exhibited a clear belief in God from time to time, and his Protestant Christian background has always been strongly manifest in his behavior and personal code of ethics. Spider-Man was one of 33 characters who were identified as the most religious superheroes in the Marvel Universe in Infinity Crusade June 1993. In this issue, a powerful being who identified herself as the goddess kidnapped the superheroes she had identified as being the most religious active superheroes at the time. The goddess was a manifestation of the benevolent side of Adam Warlock, and she planned to use these heroes in her crusade to rid the galaxy of evil and usher in a new golden age of peace. After these 33 characters had been kidnapped by the goddess, the remaining superheroes gathered to try to figure out what was going on. The Vision analyzed data about who had been taken and who had not, and explained his analysis. Now that the appropriate files have been examined, I believe I have sufficient hard data to put forth that theory I mentioned earlier. I feel confident I know why these particular paranormals were abducted. All the missing share a common trait or experience, an event or attitude that might be categorized as religious. Many among the missing hold deeply felt moral stands or intense spiritual belief systems. Those who do not fit that profile have all had after-death experiences. My theory does not hold that these attitudes aided in the missing individual's abduction, only that these traits may have determined who would be taken. A number of Spider-Man writers, since Stan Lee, have hinted at Peter Parker's Protestant-leaning background and beliefs. One writer in particular who has depicted Peter Parker's belief in God has been J. Michael Straczynski. Famous for his creation of the popular science fiction TV series Babylon 5, Straczynski came to Spider-Man with no experience at all in writing comic books. Straczynski's work on Spider-Man garnered widespread acclaim, and breathed new life into the character. Although Straczynski identifies himself as an atheist, he has been a champion of realistic, mature characterizations and storylines for Spider-Man, and his stories were among the most overt in depicting Peter Parker's spirituality and religious faith. Straczynski also introduced a heretofore undescribed mystical element to Spider-Man's origin and powers. So that you will know this was not simply a dream. There is an etymology book on your third shelf. Look to page 73. And then pray. Pray. Peter Parker wakes up from his dream, which was not simply a dream, in which Doctor Strange appeared to him and conversed with him on the astral plane. He finds the book on a shelf and opens to the page Doctor Strange described. The page has a picture and description of a spider wasp. Peter Parker's face shows that he is rather horrified after reading this description. Hey, God? It's Peter again. Peter Parker, Spider-Man number 48 is another issue, which depicts Peter Parker in prayer, or having a conversation with God. In this scene, we can even hear God's answers to Peter, or at least what Peter imagines God's answers are, or would be. It is probably not the intent of the scene to suggest that God is speaking directly to Peter Parker, but clearly Parker is thinking about God and pondering why God would allow terrible things to happen to him. Peter seems to find at least partial answers to his questions both in the scene and in the coming story arc. Peter Parker sits on his bed in his apartment, staring at his Spider-Man costume, which is draped over the back of a chair. Peter Parker thinking, me and God, we have this little game. We are still working out the finer details, but it basically works like this: he does something really spiteful. Normally to someone I care about. And I get to ask a lot of questions about it. Prayers are, like, God's way of staying interested. I swear he does this stuff to us so that we'll complain, and he can have someone to talk to. Dear God, the thing is this, my life's a joke. I mean, if you're so infinitely wise, then why would you send someone like the Green Goblin to try and ruin my life? Since when did my family and friends ever do you any harm? Why would you have the Goblin put my buddy Flash Thompson in a coma, so that he may never walk or talk again? And where did I go so wrong, that you needed to hold a mirror to my heart, just so's I can see my ugly reflection? Oh, Peter! Don't you see? This is all part of my grand design. Uh-huh. Is this one of those create by numbers things you got going here? Only I'm not sure I see the entire picture. Would it make any difference if you did? Probably not. So just why do bad things happen to good people? I can't tell you. It'd spoil the surprise. You'd know everything. And then you'd get all bored and grumpy and you'd blame it on me. It's much better this way, Peter. You get to figure everything out for yourself, and when you do, it'll make all the difference in the world. Funny how most of my conversations with God end like that. Along with prayer during times of great need, another way that Peter Parker has manifest faith in God is through expressions of gratitude. What Parker is most grateful for is the people in his life. His close friends and family. Mary Jane Watson has been a close friend of Peter Parker's nearly since the creation of the character, and has been his most significant love interest. So here's the thing, God. I know I complain a lot, and I know that you and me, we've got issues, but right now, just for tonight. Thank you for her. Thank you. A rare example of young Peter Parker invoking God in Ultimate Spider-Man appeared in issue number 53, in a story titled Daughters, written by Brian Michael Bendis. Mary Jane runs away because of the constant verbal abuse from her manifestly atheist father. Well, this is a nightmare. What is she thinking? Did she leave town? Did she leave me too? I knew she was bummed out, and going through stuff with her dad, but this is insane. This is so out there for her. She's really this messed up. I should never have told her I was Spider-Man. Nick Fury was right. I should never have told her. Clearly she can't handle it. She needs to talk to a professional, or something is what she needs to do. This is God punishing me for even entertaining the idea of that crazy black cat woman. Who knew MJ was even capable of? In another issue of Ultimate Spider-Man, Peter Parker has recently lost his Spider-Man costume for the second time in a row. Among his many troubled thoughts is the question, is this a sign from God that he should quit being a superhero? Maybe someone up there is telling me not to wear a costume, or not to be a superhero. Maybe I was late to class and I didn't eat lunch. Again, with all the problems and troubles in his life, how does God get involved? See for yourself. Okay, God, I ask for so little, and Lord knows that's just about what I get. But just once please. I am begging you. Give me something to hit.